Hey, I'm Brian Webb. I serve as the Area Director for Pacific Oceania with the Assemblies of God World Missions. I want to discuss short-term mission trips, especially evangelism trips. Now, what comes to your mind when I say missions? For some people, they imagine that missionary serving on the field long-term. Others think of an annual trip that their church takes to a distant country to engage in evangelism. Maybe they hold open-air meetings, or they perform skits and human videos on a street corner, or perhaps they go door to door passing out gospel literature. When discussing missions, it's important that we center ourselves on what our mission really is. Jesus told us to go and to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And he promised he would be with us to the end of the age. Now, we do a lot of things to fulfill our mission, and evangelism is a key part of it. But we must remember that our mission doesn't end with evangelism. Our mission is to make disciples of all nations. The agency for that is the local church. And that's what baptism is all about. It's the gathering of new believers into this fellowship that we call the church. And it is in the church that these new believers are then taught to observe all that Jesus has commanded us. Now, can this mission be fulfilled without evangelistic missions teams? Well, in theory, yes. In practicality, they're often a shot in the arm to local efforts. Most missionaries, they're skillful in evangelism. Still, most find that a good team coming alongside that pioneering missionary is an enormous blessing, and it allows the pioneer to move further faster. So I hope I'm clear here. Evangelistic teams are often a critical piece of moving forward with the mission Christ gave us. The question I want to address today is, should the evangelists come for a short-term trip, or should they come for a lifetime? So let's talk some pros and cons to each. When a team comes to visit, it can be a huge blessing to the missionary. It brings enthusiasm. It presents, just like a lot of times the presence of visitors opens doors to resistant communities. It encourages the missionary and their family as they get to interact with believers from their home culture that speak their native language. It's also a great benefit to the members of the team. It allows the team members to engage hands-on in the mission that Christ gave us. And like all short-term trips, it serves as a fast where we're separated from the normal flow and voices of life, allowing us to hear God more clearly. It creates an opportunity for team members to see firsthand the effect of their church's missions program. As a missionary, I have recruited and hosted many evangelistic teams, and I will continue to do so. However, we need to be very honest. There's also some cons to these short-term evangelistic teams for the missionary and for the context where they serve. Hosting a team takes time. On average, a missionary will step away from their core ministry in the area of their giftings for a month. If they host multiple teams a year, that can significantly reduce the amount of time they are operating in the area where they are most gifted. Hosting a team, it can be stressful. Long-term missionaries have successfully learned to navigate their host culture, and they serve as that bridge between the two cultures during the team's visit. Competing expectations and values between the team and the local believers can put enormous strain on a missionary. They feel the pressure to help the team have a successful and enjoyable visit. Missionaries want to be seen as successful and competent by their home church. At the same time, they have to live long-term in this new community. When conflict arises, who do they please? It costs a lot. In our area, the typical airfare for a team is $2,000 per person. Think of what the missionary and a team of local believers could do if the team members sent the money instead of taking that trip. Is there a better way? Actually, there is, but it requires more sacrifice. What if you didn't take that short-term trip? What if you gave your life to this mission? What if you moved to the far side of the world, learned the language and culture, learned how to evangelize in that context, worked alongside a pioneering missionary to plant the church where it's not? It would cost you. I'll be straight up with you. Being a missionary, it doesn't pay a lot. It would mean leaving your home country, leaving behind all that is familiar, to learn another language and culture. It would be hard. It would be the hardest thing you've ever loved to do. But it would also bring some incredible benefits. You could be hands-on in the mission Christ gave the church. It would be the greatest and hardest adventure of your life. If you feel like God is speaking to you about making the transition from short-term missions trips to long-term missions service, send me a message. Let's talk about what it would look like for you and your family.